Hey, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Polygon's price chart and see what is happening in the short term. And a spoiler alert, I think I'm starting to see some optimistic signs suggesting maybe we are not going to see a whole lot of downward price action anymore. But before we get into all that good stuff, real quick, we are going to talk about two very important tweets, and it seems like that according to data, Polygon's daily transactions have nearly doubled since the start of the year. They are up now more than 100%, and that, my friends, is actual throughput growth on chain. And it is all happening right now, while at the same time, the broader crypto market has been shaky and kind of flat, if not maybe down a little bit. And Polygon's network activity right in this period has been climbing consistently, which usually means one very important thing. People are actually using the chain, and also we got Q3 numbers, and these are all about payments. You see, according to this tweet, Polygon reported about 3.4 billion in stablecoin supply, hitting an all-time high. And on top of that, we are talking about a 287 million stablecoin transfers, which is up about, I think, 21% from last quarter, and also 1.8 billion in payments provider volume, which is also up about 15% quarter over quarter. And these, my friends, trust me, are not a small growth. These are serious movements in the exact area that Polygon is excelling at, which is real world payments. So question is, what does all this mean? You see, it's so easy to talk bad about a project when the prices are down, but I think according to these reports, at least, it looks like that Polygon is starting to find its footing as a payment focused chain, and the increase in stablecoin activity definitely lines up with that goal beautifully, because stablecoins are actually the backbone of most payments flows in the whole crypto space. And when you see a stablecoin movement rising, well, okay, it usually means more actual transaction use cases, including, for instance, maybe payments, maybe microtransactions, maybe to a degree even app integrations. And these are the things that you want to see in a project focused on payments if you want to argue that we are definitely on the right track fundamental wise. Now, the important thing in here is that we shouldn't only care about numbers going up. What really matters in my view is what kind of growth are we having in here. And for example, if the transaction spike is organic, meaning it is actually driven by real users and not bots and automated rollups, okay, that is going to be a very strong adoption signal. And to confirm that, you want to check metrics like active wallets, maybe fee trends, and also validator revenue over time. And again, this is why you have to do your due diligence constantly and not be satisfied by just 1 or 2 reports. Let's come back to these reports about, let's say, 2 or 3 months from now. And then if the numbers are still up, okay, fair enough. It shows that Polygon is definitely on the right track and we are attracting a good bit of adoption. So overall, fundamental wise, it seems like that we are absolutely 100% having an increase in stablecoin flows and also transaction volume, which is giving a good weight to the payment narrative around Polygon. So if you are one of those guys that in the comment section usually comments that Polygon is a dead project, may I suggest maybe think twice. I mean, do not get me wrong, I fully understand when the prices are down, it is so annoying to talk about these numbers and tell you that fundamental wise we are looking great, but this is actually what we need to do if we want to overall in the mid to long term make a good amount of money. You need to have your eyes on projects with solid fundamentals, and sometimes in those projects the price is not necessarily going to reflect what is happening in real time, at least in the short term. In the long run, okay, if we are on the right track, the price will eventually appreciate, and this, my friends, is my primary scenario in Polygon. Now, having said all that, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on in the short term. Okay, here we are. And if you remember, the last time that we talked about Polygon, we were, I think, specifically right in here. And the idea was that maybe we are going to have one more small move down, not necessarily even in order to take the lowest low down here, which according to Coinbase's chart, it's somewhere around 15 cents. We were saying maybe this wave is going to get a bit truncated and then we can have our move on the upside. And we did continue our move down a little bit, but let me be very, very clear. This wasn't actually what I expected in the previous video. I expected like a deeper move on the downside, specifically in terms of Elliott's waves in form of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think I'm not really able to find the subwaves for a 5-wave down in here. And instead, who knows, maybe we do have in here the subwaves for, excuse me, an A, B, C in form of a zigzag. So what's the play in here? You see, in Polygon, we can consider two different counts. Scenario number one suggests that, okay, we are wrong, and this is the end of our impulsive structure down in Polygon, and we are not actually having a bit of a bearish setup, suggesting in the short term, we are going to get, I don't know, maybe like a 20-25% move on the downside. That scenario indicates that, well, okay, maybe this point is the end of your wave 4, and this was a violent 5-wave down into our wave 5, and off of the lowest low, maybe we are having 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, and the next move is going to be a decent one up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And here is the deal: the fact that in the short term, I think I'm able to identify the subwaves in this area for like a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5 is definitely not a bad sign, and that does actually open the doors to maybe having a 1, 2, and what's next, good move up into wave 3, 4, 5. But right now, again, I'm still going to be a little bit patient and just accumulate my tokens step by step, and not necessarily argue that we are going to get a very strong move up effective immediately. I'm going to be patient and accumulate more, and then if we see a rather strong move, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, without a lot of overlapping of the waves, in order to, I'm going to say, maybe get back to somewhere around these areas, about 22.5 cents area. At that point, I'm going to say, yeah, you know what? This isn't probably going to be a 1, 2, 3 and like an insanely deep move on the upside into wave 4, followed by another move down into wave 5, since the structures are going to be a bit out of shape. At that point, chances of this bullish count suggesting we are having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the final low is N, and we are starting a new uptrend, is actually going to increase quite a bit. But right now, let's be patient and consider the possibility of having, let's just go around here, there we go. Okay, I just took the wrong object. The possibility of having an A, B, C, D, E, which in terms of Elliott's waves, we call it a triangle, and for the sub waves, you know it, we basically must have ABCs in every single wave. There we go, ABC into C, ABC down into wave D, and this is our final ABC on the upside into our E leg. And by the way, I forgot to tell you this, in an ABC zigzag, in terms of the sub waves itself, we must have 5 up into A, correction for wave B. The shape of it doesn't really matter. Let's say in this case, I don't know, maybe an ABC and then another 5 up into C. Now let's go on the live chart and see what is going on. So in my view, there is actually a good chance that in Polygon, we are having in this initial bounce an A, B, C zigzag followed by an ABC down, no problem at all. However, I think this might be still a 5-wave on the upside. So how about this? Maybe we're going to get a move up, and in that move, maybe we are not going to take this high, and that's going to be in form of an A, B, C zigzag, and then ABC down followed by our final ABC on the upside, in order to complete the subwaves for on a higher degree, you know it, a triangle structure, and A, B, C, D, E, and then maybe we can have like one more move on the downside. Bottom line is, I think in the short term, and by that I'm talking about probably the next 4 to 5 days, let's say even the next week, in Polygon, we are going to see a decent move on the upside, and there's a very good chance that in that phase up, we are going to hopefully reach to about these regions, about like 20.5 cents. But I think we are probably going to go quite a bit higher, maybe the 21.5 cents area. Generally in the next week, I do expect like a 10% move on the upside, since the bullish and also the bearish scenario at the same time suggests we are going to have most likely something like that. Again, most likely there is no certainty in any market at any given moment. We are only talking about different possibilities, okay? Please understand that I don't really have a crystal ball. If I had, it would be awesome, but unfortunately I'm not really that lucky. Now, in like very short term, and this is for like the next 24 to 48 hours, if you want to say that, yep, we are going to have maybe another move up in order to take the highs, may I suggest to have your eyes on this very important high right in here, about, let's say, 19.5 cents. Why do we care about this? Because in terms of Elliott's waves, the idea is, if we are wrong and we are looking truly bearish, and this is actually a bit of a bearish setup, then okay, you need to be able to find off of the recent high a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. Why is this so important? Because let's say in Polygon, we are going to get a bit of a bounce, and in it, we are going to take this high. At that point, answer me this, please. How exactly are you able to find from the highs to about the lows a 5 wave? Even if you are able to find that, like, do not get me wrong, I think it is possible to find one, but let me just say this. The shape of that 5 wave is going to look so odd to a degree that it's going to make me say, yeah, you know what, maybe it shouldn't be our primary case, indicating most likely these are just the subwaves for a beautiful clear-cut ABC zigzag, suggesting we are having a correction from this high and not an impulse, and we are going to hopefully continue our move down in order to take the highs, but maybe hopefully go quite a bit higher than that. So in the next 24 to 48 hours in Polygon, all eyes on this high, and if we take it, count on, let's say, another 10% move on the upside. And during that move, if we also manage to take this high as well, about, let's say, like 21.5 cents, that could be like yet another very important bullish sign. But for now, let's not talk about these highs. Let's just see another short-term move up, and then we're going to make new videos and talk about what might be the next likely move. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Polygon's price chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.